You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit in current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest, Aaron Van Trojan, Geneva Financial. Welcome.
Good morning, Ron.
Good morning. Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we're celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. National Set a Good Example Day. Now, shouldn't that be every day? You know, I guess some people don't follow that guidance. I try, as best I can. You just have to, sometimes it doesn't, just doing the right thing. I'm a big believer in karma. What goes around comes around. If you do the right thing by people, it's just, number one, it's easy. Now, I consulted with a lady yesterday. She had just lost her husband 7 months ago, thinking about buying a new house, and she's dealing with all kinds of stuff. And I said to her, something, I can help you. I can get you qualified. Everything you're talking about wanting to do makes sense, but your heart isn't in it. So why are you doing this? Why not just wait? If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And I'll tell you the same thing I told my mother. And this lady's younger than I am. So I said, I told my mom, don't make any decisions for a year. Right? I mean, when you really think about it, when you're grieving, are you making your best decisions possible? Just throw that out there. Set a good example day. And obviously, as you know, I'm part of the Geneva Financial family. Be a good human is the company motto. So kind of ties in. Today's also National Pistachio Day. Okay, so I've lost about 50 pounds. I'm not allowed to eat a lot of the pistachios. So they're probably better than some of the other stuff that I used to be eating, but, I'm just kind of watching it. The bride has me trying to do the right thing, the National Pistachio Day. Let's get on with, Johnny Cash's birthday today. If I had thought about it, no, I am not going to sing. Please don't get sick there. Yeah, Josh is looking at me like, please don't. Okay, what's the markets doing? The Dow Jones Industrial Average up 87 points right now. The S&P 500 is up 43. The NASDAQ is up 227. Oil down 10 cents a barrel. And the 10-year Treasury continuing its fall. It's down 1 basis point at 4.29. But everything right now is going to hinge on about 1:30 California time today. What happens at 1:30 California time today? Well, NVIDIA is going to announce their earnings. And if they don't blow it out of the park like they've been doing every other time, the market's going to take another big drop. If they blow it out of the park like they've been doing, the market will probably continue to go up historically. And, you just look and say, you don't know can't predict the future. Historically, NVIDIA's stock moves 6% the day following earnings. Might go up, it might go down. But historically, the movement is 6%. And we've also got all kinds of other things going on in the world and we're watching a lot of them. And we got the House of Representatives came together yesterday and passed their framework of their bill of the Trump agenda. Whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter. That's what happened yesterday. And the markets look at it and they say, okay, maybe that'll be good. What does it really mean, though? It takes uncertainty out of the market, whether you like it or not. When, it's hard, I do a little radio show here, talk to you each day, but the CEOs of companies, it's very difficult for them to make major decisions with uncertainty, with government uncertainty out there. So, if the bill passes through the Senate now, yes, I guess the idea is that in some instances, we still do have a constitution and they do follow it. And I watch with my grandkids on Saturday morning. They don't have the same cartoons that we had where you watch that bill. It goes, from the House of Representatives to the Senate, and then the president signs it, and that's how a bill becomes law. In the last 10 or 20 years, we've spent more time with executive orders. I think we had a revolution to stop that. It was about 250 years ago, but we're back doing that kind of stuff again. You like the idea of having elected officials doing these things, but we are where we are. It is what it is. And we just are the pawns out there watching as all these things go by. But we have to live with it. So how do we make our decisions? And I'm going to show you something that I don't usually talk about during the Mortgage Minute today. And it's something we're going to talk a lot with Aaron Van Trojan about, because he's probably one of the biggest evangelists of this that I know. And it has to do with the idea, and it's something I say all the time, strategy beats rate always. And we had a consultation, and in understanding strategies and mortgage strategies, you actually can do a lot better for your family. And one of my favorite products, and it actually is, I used to say before I understood this product as well as I do now, that the absolute best loan on the market was a VA loan. Our veterans have earned it. Well, to a certain extent it is, but it's been passed by, what I think is the Home Select loan. And you have to understand how the product works. But one of the things, and it's a misconception that so many people have, and I'm going to talk about it when we come back in the Mortgage Minute, is the Home Select loan. Again, the best loan out there. You can, if you follow the structure, you pay off your loan faster than anything else in the market with a low interest expense, but the rate is higher. How can that be? And so many people have their trouble getting their head around. Higher rate gets you a lower expense. And here's the issue. I like to eat and I like good food. And if I go to my favorite steakhouse, or now I get fish there, but if I go there and I tell them that I've got a 3% interest rate, they won't give me a meal and they won't give me a vodka martini. If I tell them I've got a few bucks in my pocket, they will. I'm going to explain that when we come back, and then we're going to talk more about that and a whole lot more. Where's the market heading? We're going to talk about that with Aaron Van Trojan. We're going to also talk about, are investors actually buying up all the homes? All that and more. Reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at RonIsMyLender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. RonIsMyLender.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at ronsiegelradio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender. Are you a military veteran, first responder, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, then you're a Ron Siegel VIP hero and you may qualify for rewards up to $5,000 to $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with a Ron Siegel Radio partner. As a valued VIP hero, you receive special savings, rebates, and valuable discounts. Learn more by calling me, Ron Siegel, at 1-800-306-1990 or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. It's just our way of saying thank you.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute is being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual lock rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. Let's see what rates did yesterday. Now, the OBMMI does not tell us the points paid, points received, or the APRs. They tell us the number you need to put into your mortgage calculator to get your principal and interest payment. Oh, you don't have a mortgage calculator? Shame on you. You can get one for free. It's on our mobile app. rsrlinks.com/mobile app, rsrlinks.com/mobile app. Rates yesterday. Again, according to OBMMI, conventional 30-year fix, 6.653, that was down. Jumbo 30-year fix, 6.772, that was down. FHA 30-year fix, 6.305, that was down. VA 30-year fix, 6.184, that was down. And the USDA loan 30-year fix, generally no down payment in the rural areas, 6.402. That was down, a clean sweep. And we like clean sweeps. If you want to get our thoughts about the market each and every business day morning, as early as the data allows, rsrlinks.com/market minute, rsrlinks.com/market minute. Let's see what the markets are doing today. We do that all the time. Again, the 10-year treasury down 1 basis point. The mortgage bond is up 4 basis points. When the bond goes up, rates go down 4 basis points. Not a whole heck of a lot right there to talk about. But what I do want to chat with you about is it's one of my favorite concepts. Strategy beats rate always. And Josh, you have a slide there. We're going to show a consultation that I did, and we're going to share this with you. And we're looking at a purchase price and 4 different options for this family. And the purchase price obviously is going to be the same. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, you're able to see this. Or again, the ABC News and Talk AM 1490, FM 98.1 video feed. You're able to see all of this. And I'm not going to tell you all the hows. I don't want to bore you with everything that's here. But we're looking at this, and you're looking at 4 different options. And there's a couple of highlighted areas. A family is buying a $1,300,000 house, and they have the money to put down whatever they want to put down on this property. They're selling another property. Well, what are their goals? Well, they're talking about wanting to get it paid off as soon as possible. So they came to me and said, hey, Ron, I'm thinking about doing a 15-year loan. And I said, why? Now, you know that I look at everything through the lens of safety, liquidity, and return. Well, they're going to put down like $700,000 on this. And I said, okay, you could do that. But what if you put down $500,000? I'm rounding off some of the numbers here. And again, you can see them all. And if you want the numbers, you can go to our socials. They're all there. The payment is about, on the 15-year, okay, they could do it for $300 a month less because they're putting so much more down payment. But wait a second, one of their goals was to see how quickly they can get the loan paid off. The 15-year loan is going to get paid off in 15 years. The 30-year loan with strategy behind it and making the payment strategically, doing things the way we can help educate people, bringing in other professionals. We're showing them how to get it paid off in 11.3 years. Maintaining liquidity. That's the whole concept here. So now they're in a closely held business. What happens if something goes wrong with the business? They've just kept $200,000 liquid. I like the idea of liquidity. If we have another pandemic, God forbid, if something goes south, we don't know. We don't know what the future holds. The bottom line is, in almost everything we do, cash is king. If you've got cash, in this scenario, they can make 2 years worth of house payments and not have the stress. And that's a young family. Again, there's a whole strategy behind doing this. You don't just go out there and find it. But here's the concept. The 6.25% interest loan with a 6.569 APR was going to pay off in 15 years. The 6.75% loan with a 6.95% APR is going to pay off in 11.33 years. Again, no guarantees, but the strategy that we use here, we're throwing in numbers that have 30-year historic norms. I don't know if they're going to happen in the future, but I like when I have a 30-year track record. If you want more information on these type of things, give us a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. That is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. And now, speaking of the aforementioned, Aaron Van Trojan, Geneva Financial CEO, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Ron.
So, Aaron, you've talked many, many times that interest rates are not the most important part of a discussion, and that there's a whole lot of things. Obviously, it's important, but it's not the most important. That there's understanding where the market's going and what the family motivations are. Have I encapsulated that kind of correct?
I don't think there could be anything more important than that. Again, our industry's gotten people fixated on strictly interest rates. So if you have the lowest interest rates, you're doing the best that you could possibly do. But that's not necessarily true. Obviously, there could be points and fees associated with the interest rate, but more importantly, the terms of the loan is a major factor. And then, like you were talking with the Home Select, which changes the narrative completely, where you can use your mortgage more as a tool. And an interest rate could be potentially considerably higher than a 30-year fix, yet you're paying off the loan much faster than a 30-year fix. So there's lots of variables in the structure of the loan, but also more importantly, it's talking to somebody. Most of the people in our industry are going to sell you what you want to buy. And the average consumer doesn't necessarily know what that is. They've been conditioned to think that I just need to get pre-approved. I just need a 30-year fixed mortgage, and I want a low interest rate, right? And that's all they know and all they think that's important, but it's not. It just to use a simple example, what product are they using that's going to be best for their goals and their financial situations today and the future? That can come into play, and it's largely not talked about with most mortgage professionals. Consumers don't know the questions that they should be asking, and they're talking usually to the wrong people, unfortunately, with our industry. They're not going to give them the information that they truly need. So I think that's, and again, one of the bigger issues that our industry faces is that if they want to buy X amount of house and they need a $500,000 loan, that as long as we can get them approved for a $500,000 loan, they're going to take it. But that's not necessarily the best interest of the client. Just because you can get approved for a loan doesn't mean you should, right? And it's somebody to really understand that I've always said this, that for most people, the average person, your house is your biggest liability. It is not your biggest asset. It is your biggest liability. And if the average consumer, the average homeowner started buying, their first property or their move up property, thinking about it as a liability versus an asset, they might make some much, much smarter decisions about what they do instead of having this financial burden. Again, you do a 30-year fixed mortgage and that's your biggest liability. You're going to have 30 years of pain. Right?
I like the way you put that. Yeah, 30 years of pain. So one of the other things I talk about, when we talk, in addition to dealing with the safety, liquidity, and return, is something that you just said, and you articulated probably better than I do, is it's the big difference between suitability and eligibility.
Yes.
Right? We can get people eligible. There's a million products out there to get people qualified. But that doesn't necessarily equate to suitable for what their life is or where they're heading.
Yeah, the average, especially first-time home buyers, they just have no concept of the actual cost of home ownership. Right? It's not just your mortgage payment and insurance and taxes. Insurance and taxes are always going up, and you know this better than anybody being in California, right? Insurance is going
up.
It's going up. Just the cost of maintaining a house. I mean, it's astronomically expensive because even though the land value of the house, the land value underneath the house usually always goes up, the home actually always goes down. It gets older. It starts falling apart. And if you want to maintain the value of that house, you constantly have to be putting money into the house. Now, I'm not trying to talk people out of home ownership. I think it's an amazing thing. I just think that most people, especially first-time home buyers, really need to be educated and not just, do a celebratory dance when they get approved for a loan, because it might not be in their best interest.
So in this day and age, with pricing where it is and with interest where it is, are you a proponent of the young people buying? I mean, and we know that the average age of a first-time buyer is now up to 39. Is that good or bad, or do you have an opinion there?
I think I've owned homes since I was fairly young, and I've had multiple homes at the same time, because I've gotten to be in a situation to invest in property. I don't do that as much now because I've learned, of the sheer cost of home ownership, whether it's as a primary residence or investment tool. And again, I'm not saying it's not a bad thing. I learned that it wasn't necessarily for me. So yes, I think that it's a great goal for everybody to own their own property. Again, as we've always stated, is if you're renting, you're paying your landlord's mortgage and you're never going to get equity from that situation and so on and so forth. But this day and age, we are mobile, we're virtual. We just talked about that. And so if you own your house, you're not mobile, right? If I'm renting 6-month, 12-month lease, I can move anywhere after that lease with no repercussions. That's not that easy on a house. And when people always say, well, I can just sell my house. Yeah, in the last 3 years, it's been a seller's market. So you can sell your house in 20 minutes.
Right.
Might be a 30-day close, but you can have it under contract in 30 minutes. That's not that way in all markets. And I think we always forget that the the values can go up and down, and they do go up and down, and it's not as liquid as cash or stocks. And I think that with the younger generation, not creating families until much later of an age and being far more virtual and far more mobile, it's things that they have to think through, right? And again, these are all things that a professional financial planner can help you, a mortgage professional can help you think through these things, think down the line, and make sure that you're making proper decisions. The last thing I want to do is help somebody into a house and have them miserable.
Something it's kind of interesting that you say that, and I know that's your belief and philosophy, and it sounds so counterintuitive to the CEO to hear that come from a CEO of a mortgage company. It just talks to the person that you are that's saying, hey, you know something? Maybe it's not right for you. We're going to continue our conversation with Aaron Van Trojan when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. Are investors actually buying up all the homes? And more with Aaron. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at ronsiegelradio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you a military veteran, first responder, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, then you're a Ron Siegel VIP hero, and you may qualify for rewards up to $5,000 to $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with a Ron Siegel Radio partner. As a valued VIP hero, you receive special savings, rebates, and valuable discounts. Learn more by calling me, Ron Siegel, at 1-800-306-1990 or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. It's just our way of saying thank you.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, the real-time real estate segment today. Being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Are investors actually buying up all the homes? Are you trying to buy a home, but you feel like you're against deep-pocketed Wall Street investors snatching up everything in sight? Many people believe mega investors are driving up prices and buying up all the homes for sale, and that's making it hard for regular buyers like you to compete. But here's the truth. Investor purchases are actually on the decline, and the big players aren't nearly as active as you might think. Let's dive into the facts and put this myth to the test. Most investors are small, not mega investors. A common misconception is that massive institutional investors are dominating the market In reality, that's not the case. The Mortgage Reports explains, quote, on average, small investors account for around 18% of the market, while mega investors represent only 1%. Most real estate investors are mom and pop investors who own just a few properties, not large corporations buying up entire neighborhoods. They're people like your neighbors who have another home they're renting out or a vacation getaway. Investor home purchases are dropping. But what about the big investors you hear about in the news? Lately, those institutional investors, the ones that make headlines, have pulled back and aren't buying as many homes. According to John Burns Research and Consulting, at their all-time peak in the second quarter of 2022, institutional investors, those owning 1,000 plus single-family homes, only made up 2.4% of home sales, and that number has only come down since then. Quarter three of 2024, that number actually had fallen to just 0.3% if you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490, FM 98.1 video feed. You are seeing a chart of institutional investors who are buying fewer and fewer homes. Investors are clearly more reluctant to buy in today's market, but why? The answer is largely because higher mortgage rates and home prices have made it less attractive for them. The idea that Wall Street investors are buying up all the homes and making it impossible for you to compete is a myth. While some investors are still in the market, they're not nearly as active as they were in the past years. Bottom line, big institutional investors are not buying up all the homes. If anything, they're buying less than they have been. Let's connect and talk about what's happening in the local markets. And I do have the data for every local market, and I give it away to you for free. All you have to do is go to rsrlinks.com/market report. rsrlinks.com/market report. And our friends over at Altos Research, they track every home for sale in the country every single week. And they're all there by zip code. Yours is there as well. You can find out what's going on in your zip code. That's a real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Continuing our conversation, CEO of Geneva Financial, Aaron Van Trojan, is with us. Aaron, before the break, you were making a comment, and I talk about this in every consultation I do, that we look at everything through the lens of safety, liquidity, and return. And so many people say, well, I'm buying a house, my investment is always going to be safe. And we found out in 2007, 2008, that might not quite be the case. And you were just making that comment again, and you've talked about that in some of the other calls that we've had. Talk a little bit about safety in real estate and your feelings and your experience there.
I mean, I think long-term real estate is a safe investment. They're not creating more land, right? So it's always it's a limited quantity, right? There's only so much of it, and everybody needs housing. And until the population turns to negative, which will inevitably happen, it's not for quite some time. I mean, there's going to be a strong demand for housing, period. So it is a safe investment long-term, and everything's going to continue to go up in cost. So the cost to build a house today, it's going to cost more to build a house in 10 years, right? So
sure.
There's an overwhelming chance the home price is going to be higher in 10 years, but it doesn't mean it's going to be higher next year.
Right.
Right. And I think that's where where people get lost. And yes, I had multiple properties going into 2007, 2008. And the only thing fortunate for me that I had going for me is I bought the properties right. Like I put money down. I had actually adjustable rate mortgages on them. And again, another misconception, when the market started to shift in 2007, 2008, my adjustable rate mortgages went down. So my payment went down, and I still cash flowed those programs, which prevented me from having to foreclose on all my properties like a lot of investors did. But it went down, and it didn't go down for 6 months. It didn't go down for a year. It went down for years. I had a nice condo in Scottsdale. It never went back up. I mean, it did go back up, but it never got to the price that I paid for it. And I sold it like 15 years later, still at a loss.
Wow.
And this is in Scottsdale, Arizona, a highly desirable place. So, and that, again, that's kind of a one-off. All the other properties I managed to do okay on over the course of time. But you have to have the ability to get through those downturns, because, again, I'll just sell it. I'll just sell it. If I need my money, I'll just sell it. One, you got to have buyers. And one of the problems that we had during that segment of time is that there weren't buyers. And any buyers that were out there were bottom feeders. So yeah, they'd buy it from you for 50% of what you bought it for. Right. And so people got to understand that it's not liquid. Real estate's not liquid, and it does ebb and flow. And of recent, there's been a lot more volatility because the market's been manipulated. And I'm not saying manipulated as a negative, but the money supply has been manipulated, COVID, so on and so forth. And it's changed valuation so much, so rapidly, that those are things that you have to be cautionary about. You know, you talked about just a minute ago about monster investors coming in and buying houses. Well, again, if you're a Wall Street investor, big investment company, would you buy a bunch of real estate right now at the highest price in U.S. history at interest rates? You know, they're probably not leveraging it. They're probably paying cash. But if you were, you know, small mom and pop, you know, we got 20-year high interest rates right now, and home prices have never, ever been this high. So, you know, as you're taught as an investor to buy at the dips.
Sure.
Buy at the lows, sells at the highs. You don't buy at the high. And right now, you know, again, there's some variables out there. Like, is it going to continue to go higher because of lack of inventory and tariffs on lumber and this, that, and the other thing? Those are things that could only push it higher, not lower. But right now we're at an all-time high. So I don't think you're going to see, I think you're going to see investors activity fall. I think that will continue to come down. And that doesn't mean it's not a good time for a first-time home buyer to buy. Again, if you're buying a house as your primary resident, you shouldn't be buying it as, I'm buying this for an investment. You're buying your primary residence to house your family, right?
Sure.
Not for an investment, not because of the equity I'm going to get from it.
Yeah, there's a big benefit. Most of us want to live indoors, right? I mean, it's just and the other part of it is it kind of, when you think about it, what do big investors, what are they're looking at opportunity cost, right? So if as you're saying, the real estate values are high, they're looking and saying, okay, do I want to put my money in real estate, or do I want to put my money in some other widget that they think is going to get them a better return? That's what they have to do, or go into cash. I mean, probably the greatest investor of our lifetime, Warren Buffett, sitting on what, $350 billion in cash right now.
And all of them are very dicey because, again, housing all-time high, stock market near all-time high. So again, both of those similar problems. It's all speculation, right? But similar problems there. Do you want to put your money into the dollar? That could be, you know, you got inflation concerns, but the U.S. dollar is extremely strong right now. Yeah. So I mean, but again, from the average homeowner, home buyer, first-time home buyer, so on and so forth, if you bought a house today at all-time highs and the home prices drop 20% next year, which is not likely, but certainly possible, who cares?
Right.
You know, I think you probably know this better than anybody, is that anybody that buys a house, if they hold on it for 5 to 10 years, there's an overwhelming probability that they're going to be able to sell that house for more than they bought it after a 5 or 10 year period.
Sure.
Right. But there's going to be ebbs and there's going to be cycles through that 5 or 10 years, but it doesn't matter. Again, the equity in your house, it doesn't mean anything to you until you sell it.
Well, that's the key thing, right? I mean, none of it matters. I mean, it doesn't matter to me what Apple stock does today. I've got some Apple stock. It doesn't matter to me what Apple stock does today. I'm not a seller.
Unless you want to sell it.
Right. I'm not a seller. Right. And that's kind of the Warren Buffett play, is that he says, you know, most of us know, and you and I have our own opinions on Wells Fargo, but I mean, he's owned Wells Fargo Bank for forever, and it doesn't matter to him. He's not a seller. So if it goes up today or down today, you know, it's irrelevant. And that can be the same thing for our house. Again, it goes back to that consultation. And, you know, it's a shame that you and I are in an industry that doesn't, you know, people look at, you know, we're kind of look at like used car salespeople, right, in the mortgage world. All most people are looking at is the eligibility side, and I can get you approved, so let's go and do it. They don't look at whether it's really suitable for the person, if it's in their best interest. Hey, maybe you should be buying that $400,000 house and not a $500,000 house, even though I can get you in there. And now you're going to be, married to your mortgage for the next 20 years because you can't go and enjoy going to a concert with your family.
And you said something at the end of the last segment about, seemed counterintuitive that the CEO of a mortgage company would be almost cautionary about people buying houses. And I think that it really is bode the success. I've had a lot of success in this industry. 25 years, I've done extremely well. And I think it's because of my honesty, is because I am cautionary with people, and I spend time with them and hope that they make a great decision and kind of guide them in making the good decision. And I've talked people out of buying houses that they could be approved for, because I told them about the cost of home ownership, and they're like, oh, I never even thought about how expensive this was going to be. And I made them wait. I didn't make them wait. It was their decision, but I guided them that was probably their best decision, to wait. Get more money, get more reserves, get that, that nest egg in case something goes sideways, the economy turns or whatever, so you don't put yourself and your family in a bad situation. And because I've done this, taking care of their interests, I've done well, because they've referred me to so many people. Even the person I told, it's not a good time for you to buy because of your given situation, they told all their friends that you got to go to Aaron because he's trustworthy. He'll tell you if it's not a good idea, even if you can get approved today. And I think that just led to my success.
Well, and something, one of the biggest challenges in our society right now, we see a lot of divorce, and what's the number one cause of divorce is finance. And if you can guide somebody in a proper direction, maybe they can have a more enjoyable life. We're going to continue our conversation with Aaron Van Trojan, CEO of Geneva Financial. When we come back, you're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, RonSiegelRadio.com. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams, or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And as frequently happens, I talk a lot, so we're just going to give you the touts on our Borrow Smart segment today, being brought to you by rsrhomeselect.com, rsrhomeselect.com. If you are a savvy investor and you can think, in a slightly different manner, this Home Select product is the best one out on the market. Not everybody qualifies for it, but if you do, maybe the lowest interest expense you can possibly have, maybe the shortest payoff you can possibly have, maybe the highest amount of liquidity from a large asset that you have. If you understand the program, which I do, and you want to give me a call, I will be happy to explain it to you and run it through the scenario and simulation, see if it's right for you. Don't know if it's right for you. I can't tell you that part, but it is a great program. Borrow Smart segment brought to you by rsrhomeselect.com, rsrhomeselect.com. Continuing our conversation this morning, Aaron Van Trojan, CEO of Geneva Financial, is with us, talking about doing the right thing, right? I mean, it's Aaron, it's crazy because I get so many calls. I'm sure, well, you don't anymore probably because of your perch, but you did, hearing people that they see some of these dumb teaser commercials that say that you're going to get an interest rate of nothing and you're not going to have to ever make any payments, yet your loan's going to get paid off and you're going to buy a house and everything else. It's a whole bunch of malarkey. And then somebody with integrity comes along behind, and the consumer doesn't understand, how to marry up this malarkey that they hear and the integrity that somebody like yourself comes with. How do you broach that with people?
Well, I mean, you the old adage, I mean, you do get what you paid for. And sometimes the cheapest, or in this case, the lowest interest rate doesn't mean it's the best thing for you. We've talked about that. The professionalism that comes into play and giving you the guidance that you need is critical. And the average consumer thinks that they know more than they do about this industry. They don't. Most even financial, people with some financial sophistication don't understand our industry as much as they need to. It's complicated, sophisticated, and again, it shouldn't be downgraded to a commodity like buying a car. You can buy cars on your phone now, right, through a simple application. That's not this, right? That's not what a house is. And again, 30 years of debt. That's not this. It needs to be handled, and even though there are tools that allow you to get a mortgage via your phone without talking to a human being, I don't think that's a good idea for most people, because again, an application's not going into your financial situation. It doesn't know what your goals are, short or long-term financial goals with planning, moving, work. I mean, there's a million different variables and different reasons why people buy a house. And the financial tool that they use, i.e. a mortgage, to purchase that home isn't just a 30-year fixed at the lowest interest rate. It just isn't. And again, that's been the dominant product over the last few years, rightfully so, just because of what the interest rate market has done with 30-year fixed versus a 15 or even adjustable rate mortgage. But historically, 30-year fixed mortgage would be predatory for most people. And again, they don't understand it. When the market normalizes and you can get an adjustable rate mortgage for 1 to 2 points lower, I'm talking about interest rate points. I'm not talking about fees. I'm talking about rate points lower than a 30-year fix, and the average person stays in their home or keeps that mortgage for under 10 years. Why are you paying for the security of a 30-year fixed mortgage when you're not going to have it for 30 years? Even in today's world, how many people pay off their 30-year mortgage in 30 years? Like zero.
Right. But everybody says that I'm going to be the one that's going to connect. I'm staying here forever and I'm going to keep this mortgage forever.
Yeah, you're paying a premium for the security for that 30-year fixed rate. Again, the market's been a little bit unusual for the last few years, but eventually we'll get back to normal times where there'll be a lot more product. I mean, the Home Select, again, a revolutionary mortgage product, and it isn't for everybody. But the people that it is, the minute you get in front of a Home Select and you compare it to a 30-year fixed mortgage, the 30-year fixed mortgage is absolutely predatory.
Sure.
Absolutely. If you see how much more money you're going to pay for the security of a 30-year fixed mortgage versus a Home Select, it's going to knock you off your feet. And again, it is not for everybody. I want to make that clear. But once the other adjustable rate mortgage products come into play, which they will, those are things that again, if you're a customer and just go to some Joe Schmo mortgage consultant and say, I want a 30-year fixed mortgage, give me a low interest rate, they're going to give that to you. But that may not be what you want, and you just don't know. That's why it's hugely important to talk to somebody that is a professional. They're licensed, they understand the business, and they can go through your wants, your needs, your future, and give you options, assuming that there are options that make sense for you.
One of the things that you preach a lot, Aaron, is for the loan officer to be educated on what's going on in the marketplace. Give us your 30,000 foot level of where you think the market's heading as far as in residential real estate prices and lending. Where do you think we're heading in this marketplace?
For most of my career, I had some certainty of at least what the market was going to do over a short period of time, and I've been mostly right. I'm not smart enough to tell you what it's going to do tomorrow. I can't tell you what it's going to do for sure in a year, but I got some good ideas of what's going to happen based on all the information that I have today. Right. And also historical trends. We are in a very new world. And I'm not making this political, good or bad, with the Trump administration, because they're doing things at such a high pace without knowing repercussions. It's moving markets, right? It's moving markets. So sure. I can tell you what my opinion is on today. We don't know if these tariffs are going to hit Canada, but if they do, home prices are going up. Right? Because the cost of construction is going up. It's factual, uncontested, but we don't even know if that's going to happen. Is he still using it as a bargaining chip, or is it going to happen? But it's tanking home builders, new home builder stocks right now for the fear of those tariffs coming in. So it's already moving markets and nothing's happened, right? Nothing's happened. And there's some very big swings right now in the market. I'm not talking about just the stock market, but also in the 10-year and mortgage-backed security bonds, which is what's most important to us when it comes to interest rates. Again, historically, long-term interest rates move with short-term interest rates. That's not happening today. The Fed's cut 100 basis points and long-term interest rates have gone up 100 basis points. So this is a very new world, and there is zero certainty. So as far as speculating, it's tough. It's tough. In the last 2 days, lots of talk about recession, but it's 2 days. It's 2 days. I'm not going to jump on board on that ship right now. But yes, you hear the people that are arguing that there's a good chance of recession based on the variables that we have in the last 2 days. But it's only 2 days. And again, recession would be a godsend for us in the mortgage industry because it causes mortgage interest rates to go down and creates a lot of mortgage activity. Are we going to go into recession? I don't know, man. The economy is, again, counter to what most people think. The economy is strong. It's strong. It's strong. Employment's still real good. It's getting weaker, but that's intentional. Home prices are astronomically high, getting weaker, also intentional. These are things by design. This is what the Fed's been trying to do.
Sure.
Slow inflation, slow the economy, cool it off. And has the Fed orchestrated the perfect landing? I don't know. Have they ever done that in the past? Probably not. Does it look like they might be doing it now? Maybe. Or are they going to send us into recession? I don't know. I still think that the real estate industry right now, based on all the information that we have to this moment in time, will be very similar to as it was last year. But there are variables that can change that tomorrow, right?
Pretty crazy what's going on. And something I think our conversation this morning, we've made a lot of things clear as mud. And I think but the one thing I think that you and I have come to as a consensus as the consumer really needs to go out and get, and just like in everything, you get what you pay for. You need to have a great household board of directors. I've shared that for many, many years. You need to have a great estate planning attorney. You need to have a great CPA tax person. If you're going to buy a house, you need a great real estate agent or somebody to guide you. Maybe it's an attorney. You need a great person to help you with the liability side. That's why I've talked for so many times as a certified liability advisor. We help people not just find a loan. We find out what's suitable, not just what you're eligible for. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you want to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And I thank Aaron Van Trojan, CEO of Geneva Financial, for joining us today. We'll see you tomorrow. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. And remember my motto, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.